But I did want to step away from Google for a little bit to just talk about some new search engine examples because I think they are informative in three very different ways. So plus these might be fun things you haven't heard of before. I guess you pronounce the first one Public, and then there's Neva and ClickZ. Starting with Public, it takes a very different interface. I always like seeing new search engines. They've actually resurrected the Web 3.0 meme, which was popular, I think, 10, 15 years ago. And notice that right off the bat, again, this push for browsing, whether you want to see horror movies, surfing, travel tips, mostly commercial, popular related. If you do a search on, haven't tried playing with libraries, but you'll see that the display of results is definitely much more visual than most other traditional search engines, and they're really emphasizing the images in their search results. You can even create your own feed, and they've also got a Discover, which we sort of saw on the front page. What they're pushing this search engine for is a reimagining of search engines, powered by people who help organize the web. I feel like I've heard this for the last 2 or 3 decades, different people trying this, but they're also tying it in with artificial intelligence, which will be a buzzword we hear a lot, and blockchain. So you can get little tokens for the more you contribute. Maybe this will relate. I've probably seen this approach 4 or 5 times in the last decade or two. We'll see how it turns out, but if you want a very different look for search, you might take a look at that search engine. Neva is a very interesting story that I can't show you yet because they're not really quite live, but the interesting story is this has been one of the key developers here, one of the 2 key developers, formerly was the head of Google's ad network. So what is Neva going to be known for, and what's it going to set it aside? It's going to be an ad-free search engine and emphasize privacy. And I find this fascinating that a former head of the ad network at Google moves into this company where they're going to say, we're going to be ad-free. So the other way they're trying to go, and we've seen search engines do this in the past, is search both the web and for your local content. Obviously, you have to enable that, but make it possible to search your own email, your cloud documents, contacts, calendar events, etc. Now, the only issue, if you want to see what this looks like, as I do, is it's not live yet. So you can go to, note that it's neva.co, not .com, and you can read about and join the wait list. I have joined the wait list, and they say that they're going to slowly add people to this, but they want to take everybody that they add and give a way to log in here. They're going to give you a personalized tour first. So I've not heard from them, and I think it's been several weeks since I've signed up. So you can read their digital bill of rights, see the examples of how they're hoping that this might work, but it's not quite available yet. So you're welcome to sign up and see how this might develop. The third example here, ClickZ, was also unusual. Many of the new search engines that I come across are new private search engines. Most of the time they're using the database from Microsoft's Bing, and then they're putting on some privacy filters and some other issues. ClickZ developed their own database. This was in development for years in Germany. And part of their focus was to have a European-based search engine with its own database that could be paying attention to European privacy laws. So they definitely had the privacy emphasis. They developed a private browser, a private app as well. And now if you go to their website, you come across this little notice. So this was interesting. A few months ago, they were doing some publicity, I think around December and January. And what basically happened, from what their announcement says, is the pandemic hit and they couldn't find funding with all of the focus on the pandemic. So it's sort of an interesting read here. They thought that they had a good time. They thought that what they were doing was a good idea, and it still needs the world deserves a better, more fair web. But they have actually shut down in just a few months after they sort of launched their English language version, and that was right before the pandemic.